Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Brian Kelly Radio Show, live from O'Rourke's Public House. Nice road week crowd here on hand. If you're driving around and just listening, we do have a few seats available. If you come out, you'll not only get to meet the offensive brain trust behind the quarterbacks and Coach Mike Sanford, who, by the way, also played quarterback at nearby Penn High School, so he's a local young man as well. You'll also get to meet all four quarterbacks, and there's plenty of parking across the street, and a lot of people don't realize parking at Eddy Street Commons is now free for the first 2 hours. So if you're a skinflint like me, you can still park for free. You don't have to worry about paying to park. But we've got a great crowd here tonight. Irish getting ready to take on Temple. Notre Dame 6-1, ranked 9th in the country, back in the top 10. Temple having the best season they have ever had. So, of course, Saturday's game is the biggest game in the history of Temple University football. If you listen to the folks out there, game day will be there. They are 7-0, 21 in the AP, 22 in the coaches poll. They've sold out this game. They sold out their earlier game with Penn State, the first time since 1976 that Temple has sold out 2 games in the same season. So you know it's going to be a raucous atmosphere. However, I've done a lot of games in Philly. There's a lot of Irish fans in Philly. When those tickets first went on sale, I got a funny feeling a lot of Irish fans bought tickets for this game as well. So I think it is going to be a terrific evening of football. And a little stat that I'll bring up before Coach gets here, because he might slap me upside of the head when I say this, but Notre Dame on Halloween all time is 15-0. Notre Dame has never lost on Halloween, so apparently they don't even need to show up. No, they have a very good team. They have to play very, very well. Now, tonight's Brian Kelly Radio Show is brought to you by TireRack.com. And while we're talking running, passing, and kicking, the experts at Tire Rack have cornering, traction, and performance of a different kind on their minds. That's why you'll be able to find exactly the tires that you need when you need them. TireRack.com. Find, deliver, and install. All of our audience questions tonight will also be presented by the experts at TireRack.com. And if you do submit a question, and you can also submit them via the Internet, unfortunately, Internet folks are not eligible for our prizes, but we do have prizes to give away to anybody who submits a question if your name is picked. And we have a bunch of questions so far. We're soliciting more. Coach is on his way. He has just made it on over. Surprising amount of traffic on campus tonight. There is a big event in the North Dome of the Joyce Center, which probably delayed Coach a little bit. But he is here, and he just had a very interesting press conference answering many of the questions that I know that you have already submitted to us. So Coach is coming in right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the head coach of the Fighting Irish, Brian Kelly. The team today wrapped up practice, wrapped it up inside. It's great to be able to have that facility because you don't hit a lot on Thursday, and when the weather is kind of blah like it is today, that actually helps you focus more if you can get out of the elements, especially when it's the time of year when the weather's changing and the cool weather seems different as opposed to something you've expected. Yeah,
and we got an extra day on Monday, so we got on the grass on Monday and Tuesday. We're playing, the next 4 out of 5 weeks on grass, so, getting outside in the elements on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I thought, was the most important thing. And then today was, let's get it right. Let's have our guys locked in, good communication. I thought we got all those things done today. Situations, you want a good atmosphere for that today. So I was fine going inside today. It was a little breezy out there today, and I think you just get a lot more, guys locked in when you have a day like today.
Obviously, the bulk of the work usually done by Thursday night. That doesn't mean you're not doing more work. You'll have a walkthrough in Philadelphia on Saturday. You'll have meetings tomorrow night. I mean, you go over all this stuff again. You reinforce it, but the bulk of the work done. And last week was a bye week, and it coincided with fall break for your team. So your guys actually were able to spread out. Many went home. Joe Schmidt went to the beach in California. Jerry Tillery took a quick trip to Dublin, Ireland, but they got off campus. They came back. Did you get the benefits that you hoped you would get from your guys getting away from both studies and football for 5-6 days?
Only if we win the next 5 games, right? So, I think so. I think our guys, clearly needed that break regardless of the circumstances. It was midterm, so they needed the mental break as much as they needed the physical break. And, it's a challenging academic atmosphere here at Notre Dame, and so our guys needed to step away from the classroom, and so I think from that standpoint, they probably, enjoyed that as much as the football. I think our guys, they love to play. They love to play the game of football. So I think the break for them was mental as much as it was physical. And then we got right back at it. We got to work out on Monday. We got to practice on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday off. Got back in the weight room on Sunday. So they got a little bit of a break, but we kept them active as well.
When you have a break like that, when they come back, is there a little bit of rustiness, or is there a little bit more energy because they've been able to rest up a bit?
Well, I think there's a little bit of rust that you have to get off the guys on, and that's why that Monday practice is an important one, and it's a good way to kind of set the tone for the rest of the week, and we certainly did that. And getting them moving, getting them back into football movement is important on that first day before you really kind of drill into, your game plan preparation. So I thought we did that on Monday, and the guys have really responded. I thought today was our best practice.
Probably all time, certainly in recent history, it's the best season Temple football has had. And you have a little experience at turning programs around and raising them to new heights, unprecedented heights, most recently at Cincinnati, probably one of the reasons you're sitting next to me right now. So you know what Coach Rue's going through. You know what Temple's going through. Does that help you prepare your team for what they need to be ready for?
Well, this is certainly, for them, a one-shot deal. They're going to take a shot at it, and they've got nothing to lose. This does not impact them as much. They certainly are playing, for national ranking and an opportunity to play in a major bowl. But for them, it's a free swing, and that's kind of how I used to talk about it at Cincinnati. It's a free swing. Go and play and don't hold anything back, and I'm sure Temple will have that kind of mindset. Go after it. Nothing to lose here in this kind of atmosphere. You're playing in a sold-out stadium against, one of the great all-time programs. Let it go. Swing from the hip, and I'm sure that Temple will do that.
They've been very productive on offense. They have a very good running back, one of the top running backs in the country. But where they're really stellar is defense, top 10 in 3 key categories. Is that a little more concerning with an upstart team when they're doing it with defense as opposed to doing it with offense?
Well, I think, what's more impressive about this team is just they're well coached, in all areas, offense, defense, and special teams. And, I think their schemes are sound. I think what they do is they fit their offense with their defense in terms of, they're not giving up big plays defensively. They're taking the ball away. They're very opportunistic. Offensively, very conservative, but yet, they can strike, with a very effective offense that features multiple offensive, personnel groupings. Very good running game. They're well coached, very smart football team, and that's what scares you the most because they're going to be there, and they've shown that they're in every game going into the fourth quarter with a chance to win, and that's what you preach. Give me a chance to win it in the fourth quarter, and they've done their share of winning in the fourth quarter. That's the challenge we'll have. We'll have to stay on top of things each and every play because this group's not going to go away.
Now, athletically, they probably are not your equal, although they're very good. But talk about the attributes that they have or teams in that situation have. Good teams that may not have been ranked highly in the recruiting rankings but turn out to be great teams.
Well, they've got 20 out of 22 starters that are juniors and seniors, so it's a veteran football team. And they've come together through this. In other words, this is a team that has grown together, have gone through the ups and downs together, and now are winning together. So it's a very close team. They've overcome adversity together, and again, it's a veteran football team. You don't see freshmen on this team. You don't see very many sophomores. This is, fourth-year juniors, fifth-year seniors, a veteran football team.
But this is what you've worked very hard to be. This is the situation that you wanted to be in. You're 3 points away from being undefeated. You are in the national championship picture, and to a certain degree, you control your own destiny.
Yeah, I think all we need to worry about is ourselves. And Temple's a good football team. We respect Temple and what they've done, and I'm very impressed with their success and what they've done. And but this is about how we play. This is about how we go practice every single day, and that's all we concern ourselves with. We got another day tomorrow that we have to prepare for, and that's what we're worried about. And so I think really our focus needs to be on each and every day, and then we got to play well on Saturdays. I mean, you got to pass the test. You can't just study for it. And boy, you really studied hard this week, and then not play well on Saturday. We got to go out and make plays, execute, and do all those things. And if we do, we're a pretty good football team. I mean, we have playmakers on offense. We've got playmakers on defense. This is a really good football team that we have here at Notre Dame. And then prepare the right way and go play on Saturday.
And we have 4 young men who will all play an important role on Saturday, whether they see the field or not. And we're going to introduce you to Notre Dame's 4 quarterbacks and their position coach and offensive coordinator right after this timeout on the Brian Kelly Radio Show, live from O'Rourke's Public House. We are back on the Brian Kelly Radio Show, live from O'Rourke's Public House. This is something we could practice, but I think we pulled it off fairly well. Getting 5 guys up here with their mics on, in position, and in a way where we'll actually be able to hear him. So please welcome Deshaun Kaiser.
How you guys doing?
Montgomery Van Gorder. Brandon Wimbush. Malik Zaire. And Mike Sanford, their coach. Guys, thanks for taking some time to be out here. Now, this is where I usually open it by asking you lots of questions, but since we have this wonderful representative here, I don't know, did you know that he played quarterback at Penn High School, which is just in the next town over here?
I heard he was a legend.
Not a lot of stats to show for it.
No, but I know you competed hard. Was it hard for you where you live when you're a coach's son or a member of a coach's family is determined where dad is working? So dad got another job somewhere else, and you had to leave after your junior year. Was that hard for you?
It was, especially when you start along the path.
And you think that this is where you're going to end up, and had to change it up. Had an audible there going into my senior year, and it ended up working out really well. But 2 moves going into your sophomore year at high school, it's a little challenging, and didn't really see the field until my senior year, and was able to go on and play for Boise State from that, which was great.
Now, you guys, all these guys up here certainly know about moving and changing and situations changing. So rather than have you start with the current starter right now, let's start with the guy who started the season. And why don't you go down the line here and talk to me about the attributes and how these guys are doing and how they're improving and what you see down the road for them. Let's start with Malik.
Well, Malik came out obviously against Texas, which has turned out to be a really good football team, and put together one of the greatest performances that a quarterback's had, and really started out on fire for us and set the tone for what we wanted to do this season. And we're really proud of the work that he put in. I don't know that there was somebody put more work into going into a season than Malik has done for us. And, I think that's why it hurt so bad, for all of us, for him in particular, but what happened in the Virginia game. But the thing that I'm really proud about him going forward, and we really saw it this week, is he's completely invested, completely bought in. And, he's driving me crazy with all kinds of new play ideas this week, and he's all in. So, we're really proud of Malik and can't wait to get him back as part of the Red Army, healthy.
And I don't think you've forgotten, folks, but not only was he the MVP of the victory over LSU in the Music City Bowl, but his debut in Notre Dame Stadium, one of the greatest of any debut of any Notre Dame quarterback, 19-22, 313 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. And then against Virginia, 66-yard touchdown pass to Will Fuller that gave Notre Dame the lead back in the seesaw game before he went down. And I know you right now, when you went down, there was no bigger supporter of this guy than you.
Yeah, no doubt. I think that being a part of the Red Army, it's a brotherhood. So things happen in football, and that's just the way it goes. But I think what lasts forever is the relationships that we have on this Red Army team. And we can't control everything that happens, but the things we can control are our effort and attitude, and my support for Deshaun and for the rest of the guys to continue to do the things that Coach Sanford and Coach Kelly asked of us at a high level. And and somebody next man in has to step up. He definitely did that, and he's doing that, and he's doing well. And so I'm just here to support and do all I can to help the team win.
When a program really starts to roll, this is the kind of talent you end up with at many positions, including quarterback, guys who are very, very good and guys who aren't afraid to compete, because it's easy to look for a place where there's nobody else who's any good because you're going to play all the time. Brandon Wimbush, one of the top quarterbacks in the country when he came here, really. I know it's hard not to play as a freshman, but I think when you're here for a while, you learn, well, maybe this isn't so bad. I get to learn. But now you have had to play, and you have to be ready to be the next man in. How has that changed? And again, folks, you can watch here. We have highlights of all these guys as we talk about them. How has that changed this season for you, how you approach it, and how much have you had to accelerate your learning curve, knowing right now that if, heaven forbid, anything would happen to Deshaun, that you're the next guy in?
Yeah. I mean, for me, this process is a big learning. I'm taking it as a learning tool for me. And being behind guys like Deshaun and Malik, they've done an excellent job of helping me out throughout this whole journey so far. And I couldn't be more blessed to have these guys help me along.
And I do know that when you got in against UMass, you might remember his first pass, just a 50-yard bomb down the right sideline that Will Fuller almost made a spectacular catch. In the old days, when we didn't have replay, it was catch. But the catch overturned it. So then you threw a touchdown pass, and that got pulled back by a penalty. So you said, what the heck, I'll just run it in. You had a 58-yard touchdown run, 92 yards and 4 carries. And I know when he got in, nobody was a bigger supporter of him than you.
Yeah, definitely. Brandon's been right by our side, Malik and I, since day one this season, and he's putting in just as much effort and as much, sweat and tears out in the field as Malik and I, and Malik and I were in a position last year where we were getting pulled along by Everett, and now we're in a position now where we're trying to pull along guys like Brandon, and he has one of the livest arms, and he's very talented with his feet. And we know that as long as, we're developing our guys and we're making sure we're the best room, from Brandon to Gummy to Malik and myself, that there's never going to be a position in this season where the quarterback position is not going to come out successful.
Now, Mike, how has he responded? Because the thing is, there's only so much time. And in the spring, it was Everett and Malik. Then Everett's out of the picture. So then it's Deshaun and Malik. And then regrettably, then Malik's out of the picture, and suddenly he's in it. How has he responded to having to step into that situation where he's got to be ready to play, as opposed to maybe just learning and focusing, but not having to worry about not just learning, but knowing it just as much as anybody else does here?
Brandon's had to mature quickly. He's had to learn on the fly. I mean, we're not going to lie. I mean, for about 2.5, 3 weeks of practice, he was almost not a functional quarterback from the standpoint of just the nerves. And it's a shock to the system when you go from thinking you're a red shirt, thinking that there's a very small chance that you're going to have to play, to all of a sudden, here we go. You're get ready for one of the top teams in the country in Georgia Tech, and I'm the next man in. That's something that we knew that Brandon had all the abilities. We knew he had the confidence and the intellect to be able to handle it, but he just had to get his legs underneath him. And in fact, in the UMass game, he could legitimately not throw a 5-yard hitch in warm-ups, and then he goes out there the very first throw and he uncorks it. It was actually 63 or 4 yards in the air. And I got on the phone with him afterwards. I said, "Hey, you can throw the ball, Brandon. Let's remember that, And he's it's every week he's getting better. We're working on all of his footwork, working on his base, but really proud of the effort that he's putting in, and the confidence is growing day by day.
And I think one thing that the average fan doesn't understand, because the game does look different from up above, and because I get to go to practice, I get to stand occasionally behind the offense and watch what our shotgun quarterback has to do. It's basically snap, 1, 2, 3, throw. And in that period of time, you've looked at 4 to 5 receivers, you've done reads, you've had maybe go off your first to the second. And all the while, these very large men are trying to come after you, and yet they do kind of want to hurt you. So you kind of have to ignore that and find the receiver. I think what all you guys do is remarkable, and Mark Armour, I think what you do is also remarkable. We can't show what you do during games because he's the guy that's signaling in the plays, and we don't want to put that on video. But Coach's son, you were a captain of both your basketball and football teams in high school. You're Brian Van Gorder's son. Talk about what your job entails, because probably you talk to Coach Kelly maybe more than certainly during games anybody else does.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, with signaling, it took a little while to learn it. But, yeah, like you said, I communicate with the coaches, I communicate with Deshaun, I communicate with Brandon, everyone during the game. So sometimes maybe a call doesn't come in completely the right way, and then I have to ask.
Was that a bust throw right there? Did you
No,
throw?
that's
You
not a
threw
bust
somebody
throw.
under the
That's
bus?
not a bust throw.
We'll put that one on the
For
board.
the board.
Yeah.
But no. So it's definitely a whole different language, because like me and Deshaun he'll like look at me and I'll know what he wants to know if he didn't get the full play. But it's definitely cool. just to be able to communicate with the guys on a different level. So.
Well, and your job's changed a bit too, because usually, let's be honest, the guy slinging the plays, usually there's almost no chance he's going to get in with the game on the line. But you now also have to be prepared because, I mean, you're like the Speaker of the House now. It may not be that likely, but you might end up being president. So has that changed? You have to know all the plays. You have to know how to signal them in, but you also now have to be able to execute as well.
Yeah, I think being the signaler has actually helped propelled my knowledge of the offense. And I think as a quarterback, you have to prepare as if you're the starter every week, because that doesn't just benefit you. I can like discuss things with Deshaun that I see on the film, or we can all collaborate together. So I think maybe my preparations changed a little bit, but I think as a quarterback, you have to prepare as you're the starter every week.
I know he did a great job last year as the scout team quarterback, but now do you have to work with him a little bit more just to make sure that he's up to speed to go in?
Yeah, I knew right when I first got here, being around Gummy and just the limited amount that he was exposed to the offense last year, how quickly he picked it up. He's very, very sound intellectually, very smart, and picked everything up extremely fast in the spring. And Gummy's talented. He can spin it around dang well. One thing that Deshaun just talked about is we want to be known as the deepest quarterback room from top to bottom. And, I think that, what Gummy's done this year in preparation and his improvement, it really speaks to this room, this whole group, not just to who's out there taking the lion's share of the snaps. So, we'd feel confident with Gummy going out there and cutting it loose for us.
I've always thought the best thing to be in life would be to be rich and anonymous. Rich so that you can provide anything you wanted for your family, and anonymous so nobody knew who the heck you were. You kind of went from anonymous before the Virginia game to the big man on campus, and I know we talked a little bit about it. There is sometimes a downside to being in the public eye, and it's a responsibility. What's that transition been like for you? Because now everywhere you go, you are now the Notre Dame quarterback, and I guess the good thing is you're getting more and more attention because you're a very good Notre Dame quarterback. How have you adjusted, though, to that off-field stuff and the attention?
Things have definitely changed since, the Virginia game. I just kind of got thrown to the fire. But with that being said, there's been so much that's going on with the season, and there's always such big games that we prepare for each week that you can't really get caught up in that. There's a lot of noise that goes on with being the Notre Dame quarterback and all the stuff that goes on off the field that you have to deal with. But when you're preparing for a great team each week and play the schedule that we play at Notre Dame, you're so caught up in your studies and your preparation for that game that it's kind of easy to throw all that noise to the side. I've taken good pride in making sure that either in the film room or I'm in the classroom as much as I possibly can to try to avoid that noise. And Coach Sanford, as well as all the seniors who've been a part of this, and Malik has done a good job with making sure that I'm focused up on nothing but the task at hand. We've put out a mission to try to go out and accomplish, and I know that in my position right now that it's going to take 100% effort each week. And with the help of these guys, I've done a really good job with trying to avoid all the extra stuff and just focus out on the task at hand each week.
Next man in, it's part of the philosophy of this program, but again, he didn't get the snaps that you would want a starting quarterback to get in the spring. How has he adjusted to his new responsibilities, Coach?
Well, he really responded to the challenge going into the summer, and he knew it. He sent me a text after the spring game, and he said I needed a rock bottom moment, and that was his rock bottom moment, was the spring game. And, to see the growth from that moment to where he was even in the summer, that's an attribute to exactly what he did. He went out and worked. He went out and changed his body. He got in a whole heck of a lot better shape with the help of Coach Longo and his staff. And we're just keeping him away from the buffalo wings tonight here at O'Rourke. So I think that'll be a good thing for him. But, he's a guy that it's a quick study. Another guy that was always very dialed in the meeting room, was always dialed in at practice, even when he wasn't getting the reps. But when we went back and looked at spring, he had done some good things. We went back and studied the tape and saw where his good throws were, the areas that were deficiencies, and he had gotten more reps than I think we all had realized. He had turned nearly 200 reps in spring in those 15 workouts, and I thought that had a lot to do with his readiness to play.
You guys all signed on to be the quarterback at Notre Dame, and all your friends and family expect you to walk on here as a freshman and be the big star. And you all have to work together, and you have to help each other, and you have to help each other play better and in part maybe keep you off the field. It's a very competitive situation, and yet it seems that this group in particular has tremendous chemistry love for each other, and that you really do only want to make sure you want to be out there too, but the bottom line is you want whoever is out there to be as good as they can possibly be, and that you're all as prepared as they can possibly be, even if it may cost you somewhat personally down the future. Where does that come from any of you guys? Where's that chemistry come from?
Well, me and Deshaun took a lot of road trips going back to last year and going through the situation that I was going through trying to find a space on the team to get some plays in. We discussed a lot about just the situation in general about being a quarterback here. So a lot of it was just the fact that, we don't really control who plays or not. That's Coach Kelly's decision, Coach Sanford's decision. But, I told Deshaun and as well as for any other quarterback on the Red Army that, I'm not looking to put anybody down. I'm not looking to do things to make it seem as if I should be playing or whoever should be playing over me. I just look at it as when you get your opportunity, you got to make the most out of it. So anytime that I wouldn't be in, or anytime that going through this, what I have been through so far, being at Notre Dame, it's just more about just helping the other guy. Like that always gets you further down the road than being too self-centered on what's going on at the task at hand. Like I said, we're still a part of a team. We're all on a football team together. So having the quarterback position be so singular, I think bringing that brotherhood and the fact that we're in this all together to accomplish the same thing for the team and keeping the team in mind has helped us remain strong as a Red Army, and as well as individually, because we know it's not about trying to convey a message that they should be playing over somebody else. Is about taking advantage of opportunity and being the best that you can be. And
to piggyback off that, when you choose to come to Notre Dame, not only do you choose to go to a great academic school to play good football, we all have the intentions of winning a national championship. And we kind of understand that no matter who's out there, we're a part of the team is going to end up with a ring. And we all kind of have different characteristics and different attributes that go into the team that we all understand is going to eventually lead to possibly getting to that ultimate goal, whether it be Malik's experience from last year or, Gummy's the first one who's on top of us when we're making a mistake. He holds us accountable like crazy. And to have Brandon step in this year and be a fresh mind and to help us, Malik and I, master our crafts by teaching him, the things that we go through is something that people don't even notice. He's learning new things each week. Coach Kelly will come in and he'll throw in a play at you from 2 years ago that he just expects us all to know. And Malik might know it. He relays it to me. I relay it to Brandon. And all of a sudden we all understand it in a new different way. And we just all understand that it's going to take this whole group to reach the goals that we set out in front of us. And with that being said, it's always going to be a competition out on the field. But off the field, we know that it's going to take us all to eventually get to the goals we want to get to.
I mean, one of the things I've learned in 34 years here is you really only need 1 year. You need one good year at Notre Dame, but it's hard for young people, and all of us were young ones, very impatient. I would sit there and go, I'm better than that guy in the anchor chair. Why the heck don't I have that job? I think Coach Kelly put it best, and I'd never heard it put this way, that this is a Broadway play. And it opens in February, and by July you can be a star. But I still know it's hard for a guy like you not to be out there being the man like you were in high school. How have you adjusted? What have you learned in terms of dealing with that and preparing yourself for your chance, which is going to come? Yeah. We just don't know when.
Yeah, like Gummy said, you have to prepare every week as if you're going to be a starter. But I've learned that this is a process, and I do have to be patient in some sense, but in another, I have to be, like I said, prepared every week. And when I'm in the meeting rooms, I try to take in as much as I can from these guys because, like I said, they're so smart and they're so dialed in every day and every week. And I just learned so much from these guys, and they've all been around the game for as long as I have. So they obviously know what they're talking about. And like I said, I prepare myself every week.
Now, your dad being one of the most intense people I have ever been around, does that make it easier for you kind of in your role? Are you already predispositioned to take great pride and satisfaction when you contribute to success wearing a headset on the sidelines as opposed to being on the field?
I don't know. I don't really look into it that much. It's cool having my dad there, but I just do whatever.
I mean, the background that you have, not him being there.
Oh, okay.
Just
okay.
That you have do you have a mindset of a coach? I mean, can you take special satisfaction out of helping guys on the field through the role you have, and maybe even, and I would be the last to say that any member of this coaching staff, Coach Sanford or Tim Brock or Coach Jay, would ever make a mistake. But if you can catch something in a play call and fix it before it goes out there, does that give you special satisfaction? And are you smart enough not to point out that you did that?
It really doesn't give me like special satisfaction. I'm just trying to help out the team. But
Really?
I mean, I don't want to throw anyone under the bus. I don't really.
You already did that.
I don't
We're
really
well past that by now.
I don't really fix like a play. You know.
I think
but
there's something going on behind the scenes here that we may not get to the bottom to. Did you correct somebody?
Oh no, I didn't.
No.
But like Deshaun,
Coach, what's going on?
No, Gummy's just he's dialed in. One thing I'll say back to your original question. One thing that I was really afraid of is being put in a position in college football where I'd play on the same staff my dad was on, and it actually almost happened at Boise State. And I told my dad, if you get the head job at Boise State, I'm transferring, because I didn't want to have to deal with that.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to navigate that, and I'll really give a lot of credit to Gummy. The way that he's navigated that is he's a part of this team, and obviously, his dad will stop by the quarterback room every once in a while and rib us a little bit. But, he is 100% a part of this football team as a player, and that's it, not as a coach's kid. And I want to give him a lot of credit for how he's handled that, because that's not an easy thing to handle.
Well, and I didn't mean to go there, so I fumbled the question a little bit, but I'm glad that we did go there because it is hard. It's very hard, and that's probably one of the toughest things to handle, and I've heard that from many people that you've handled it well. Right now, I'm not handling the breaks well, so we got to get some in. We have lots of sponsors on this show. We have audience questions for our quarterbacks. We'll get to those right after this timeout on the Brian Kelly Radio Show.
960 AM and 96.1 FM.
WSBT News and Sports Radio.
This is WSBT South Bend, award-winning news and Notre Dame football.
All right, we are back. The Brian Kelly Radio Show, live from O'Rourke's Public House, presented by TireRack.com. We have audience questions for our quarterbacks, and Coach Sanford, jump in on any of these if you would like. This is Brian in Mishawaka. I guess this is almost going to be like the 60-second drill because you need to keep your answers short because there's a lot of questions. Why did you choose to play quarterback at Notre Dame?
Well, my family and I put together a little formula. It was a style of play, the style of offense I was going to go into, academics. The coaching staff and location was the last one, and Notre Dame was just easily this fit for me, and I couldn't be more excited to be here.
Growing up as a coach's kid, you know a lot about football, and one of the best programs, college football programs in the history is Notre Dame. So when I got the opportunity, along with football, the academics, you can't turn it down. So
Yeah, they've said it all. I mean, I feel like Notre Dame proposed to me the best opportunity to be what I wanted to be. As a grown man, and I feel like all the opportunities that it has extended to me, I'll take definitely advantage of them.
I like it because it's competitive, and we do a lot of competitive things, and you're really among the best of the best, and you can't get much better than that, so made it easy for me.
And Mike, we can adjust that question for you. You were one of the hottest you still are one of the hottest young coaches in football. Why'd you choose to come here?
I think for me, just having been around this place before and watched my dad coach here, these are the most memorable times as a coach's kid was being around this program. And the game day here is second to none. But I think the number one thing was this is a place that needs to win a national championship, and this is a place where you can win a national championship. And I wanted to be a part of that in a small way, along with these kind of guys, and constantly striving for that on a daily basis.
Jerry List from South Bend, this is for you. Deshaun, how are you handling the daily stress of the game and your friends in the media?
I guess I can go back to what we talked about earlier. You're just so focused up on game to game and week to week and everything else that comes along with that, as well as the academic end of things at Notre Dame, that it's pretty easy to try to avoid the media and things like that. Michael Birch does a great job with putting everything together in one day for me, where it's an hour and a half of work and it goes away, and from there on out it's all focused on the game plan and preparing yourself to go out there and play. So they put together a great support staff for me to allow me to get through that and not allow the stress to get too high.
Malik Deans here from South Bend wants to know if your rehab is going on schedule.
Yeah, I'm actually ahead of schedule. I'm walking in the next week. Well, I'm walking now, but I'm supposed to walk in the next week. And that's it. I mean, I'll be cleared before the season's over, so a lot of work to catch up on.
That's good to hear.
Patience is not one of Malik's virtues.
That's
for sure.
rather obvious.
Yeah,
That's been apparent from day one.
He said he'll be cleared by the pit game for sure. So
Yeah.
You might have to put something in his coffee or something.
No.
Sean McNamee is here from Utah. Wants to know, who is the funniest coach on the coaching staff?
Coach Easton.
Coach Heastan.
Coach Easton.
That's funny. That's not the answer I get from the line.
I think it's Van Gorder.
Oh, no way.
That voice is like no other.
No. I think Coach Sanford's pretty funny.
hey, thanks, man. Appreciate it. had to say that after the earlier bus throw. Good move.
Coach Kelly's pretty funny, too, so.
All right, Brandon, I'm not going to let you escape this one. It's for everybody. Funniest coach.
Coach Gilmore, I might have to go.
That's a good pick.
Great call.
That's a good pick.
Ben from South Bend, what is your secret workout tip for young athletes? What should young aspiring quarterbacks do?
Eat a lot of fruit and vegetables so you
Okay.
get to your proper height and weight so you don't have to worry about it when you get to school. So
That's a good tip.
I think it's all about the mentality. Just understand that Brandon Wimbush is in Jersey trying to work to beat you out at all point in times. And what that I'm saying is, if you have high aspirations to play at the highest level, the recruiting throughout the nation, there's always going to be someone somewhere who's trying to outwork you. So just understand that anytime you have that desire to go play a video game rather than go get your workout in, there's someone who's going to be working.
Yeah, I definitely think if you want to be a college football player, you can't take a day off. We don't get days off. Every day is a grind. So it just takes every day working at it and just striving to be your best and pushing yourself. So it's just self-discipline.
Brandon?
Going off like self-discipline, I think it's very important, very vital to make proper decisions along the whole way, along your journey to greatness. Because I've seen a lot of kids go down on their path and great athletes and had it all, but wrong decisions definitely can affect your path.
It doesn't matter if they're a captain or not. Quarterbacks have to be great communicators, and I think we've just seen these guys are great communicators. We could go all night. We can't, so I'm going to shorten the 60-second drill to just the fun questions. And, Coach, again, you can jump in on any of these. I'll start. This one's kind of hard to answer, but funniest thing that's happened in practice this season.
Justin Yoon running across the field.
Across the
Oh, my
field.
God.
Going to
Threw
play.
a go ball to Will Fuller down the sideline, and Yoon didn't know that it wasn't a special teams period in the practice, and he goes flying across the field to try to get away from the ball.
Looks like a safety.
Looked like a safety.
Yeah,
I thought,
yeah.
who is 60
like
yards down the
55.
field?
It was
Like,
unbelievable.
I suppose if there's a block kick, you don't want the kicker picking it up.
No way.
That's probably good instinct on him.
Almost lost Will Fuller and Justin Yoon in the same
Same
practice
play.
rep. It was not a
That's
good deal.
not good.
Not great.
Hardest hitter on the team, and you guys usually are wearing red jersey, but not always. So who's the hardest hitter on this team from what you've observed?
I'm probably the hardest hitter if somebody intercepts the ball. Like,
Really?
yeah, I definitely would take hold of that if I had to.
Okay.
I feel like
They just haven't seen it yet. Hopefully you never
Well,
see
we
it.
don't really want to see it. I don't want to see you throw a
shot.
pick just to
Well
show
played.
that. All right, best singer on the team.
Sam Bush.
Asmar.
Asmar's pretty good.
John Montelis.
All right.
Coach
Yeah,
Denbrock.
Asmar.
Coach Denbrock.
Oh, really?
Unbelievable.
Good singer.
Unbelievable.
What era does he sing from?
Kind of lounge singer.
Lounge
Kind-
singer.
That's kind of that
He's a
variety.
lounge type of guy.
He's one of those guys that we play music in the offensive staff room. I'm in charge of it, of course, and whenever the music isn't going, he starts singing to remind me I need to turn the music on.
So it's more like a
Little
Duncan
Bill
Shea
Murray
type of
Saturday
guy.
Night Live-y lounge singer, or
Way better.
way better than
yeah,
that.
Yeah, definitely.
So are we talking Sinatra here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
not quite
Duncan
there.
Shea,
Not with old blue eyes there.
Wayne Newton.
Yeah, Wayne
I
Newton.
didn't
Wayne
even know
Newton.
you.
Yeah, Wayne Newton
No
would
Wayne
be a good
Newton.
pick there for sure.
All right. Best dancer on the team.
Tory Hunter.
Avery.
Torrey Hunter.
Tory Hunter.
Tory Hunter.
Avery knows choreographed
Yeah, Torrey Hunter.
stuff.
Okay. Best comedian on the team.
Hound shell.
Chase House.
Headshot hound shell.
Chase for sure. Takes the cake.
He's a walking show.
Best dresser on the team.
Brandon Wimbush.
No question.
I have to give. it
I'll
to
be
Brandon.
honest. I'll be honest. I've been trying to pick up his style since he's been here.
So where's this style come from, Brandon?
It's a little Jersey swag, I have to say.
I think it comes from the nose ring, but
Oh, goodness.
His high school is literally across the street from Manhattan, so
Yeah.
he's
So
got that New
they're
York.
down there all the time.
That
Yeah,
New
yeah,
York
yeah.
influence.
sheesh.
Worst dresser on the team.
Don't look at me. Don't look at me. Get out of here.
I was the worst for a while.
And who has supplanted you?
I called you
We got
out.
some rough dressers on.
Got some rough dressers on the team.
We all dress the same.
I think we just dress comfortably.
Comfortably.
Yeah.
Comfort's important.
Yes,
I
you-
would
you-
agree.
But the worst dresser, probably the sloppiest dresser. So it has to be like a D lineman or something.
Right. Bags
So
of
now D
clothes.
linemen are sloppy.
Another,
say
you can say
O-line.
that when you're wearing a red jersey most of the time. Otherwise, that's not smart. Player on the team most likely to become a coach. I asked that to everybody.
Montgomery.
All right, sorry.
Montgomery.
See, it's on. It's not just directed at you, Monty. Best thing about playing for Notre Dame.
Playing with these guys, I would say. I mean, the people around you, the support that they show you.
I think that we're playing everybody in the country is something that is different. And that, we're not just playing in the conference when we travel an hour down the road. We got to travel California, we travel to Florida, we travel to New York. It's like, so you get the best of everything that you want. So we truly show that we are a competitive and great team.
I think it's the coaching staff. Not only are they, the top of the top when it comes to the knowledge of football, but everyone out there is just a great man. Everyone is a player's coach in a way, and I feel really comfortable around any of the guys, whether it be a defensive line coach who I might say 3 words to all season. I truly feel comfortable on all the coaching staff.
I think you can't deny the tradition. Like on game day when we're walking down on the walk and we turn around, you see touchdown Jesus looking at you. There's nothing like it in college football, and just to be with these guys and the relationships that we're going to create. And there's not a guy on the team that I don't like. So just the relationships that are going to last a lifetime.
Well, folks, you've just been taken inside the quarterback room at Notre Dame for about 25 minutes. Little question as to why the quarterback play has been so high this season despite adversity. We'll be back with more of the Brian Kelly Radio Show right after this. Welcome back to the Brian Kelly Radio Show, live from O'Rourke's Public House. I guess it should be no surprise that that's one of the best player segments we've ever had.
There's no question it is. First of all, I get a chance to sit in that room with those guys and Coach Sanford, so you can imagine that's the best part of my day easily. Getting a chance to watch Mike, interact with those guys, coach those guys, just an enjoyable part of my day to see their interaction, the coaching, the teaching, and all of them are learning every single day. So it's pretty special.
You gave Deshaun about as high praise as a coach could possibly give any player, especially one who's started just this season after your second game, that today – in practice, he was like a guy, a fifth-year senior, both the way he communicated and led.
I just thought his presence today was outstanding. He was loud, he was confident, he was decisive in his communication. He's still evolving mechanically like most quarterbacks are at his age. But he knew where he wanted to go with the football. He knew what he wanted to do, prior to the snap. And, anytime a quarterback is there and he's decisive in what he's doing, he's – I think all the things that we started with this year when we brought in, the leadership training, he exhibited that today. It was demonstrative, it was assertive, and I thought it came together today.
Going to get some audience questions. We're going to be going quickly here because I got to get 3 breaks in the next 12 minutes. I'm sure, Coach, I know you feel terrible about that.
Yeah, that'll work.
Paul's here from South Bend. You mentioned that some of the kids are on fumes before the break. How did they come back?
Oh, I thought that they, when I use that term, I'm talking about from a academic standpoint that they needed a break, because they worked so hard. They're in a very challenging atmosphere, and they got their break. They got a chance to get away, and they were in great shape coming back.
As you know, Delta Airlines is the official airline.
Yeah, matter of fact, our group is here tonight. We are so blessed to have the best group with us tonight.
We have a question from Gina and Jen.
I knew I was going to get one from them.
How much do you love your flight crew?
Well, I don't think I could express it adequately. All they really care about is winning. So we're just going to tell you we love you when we win, so we'll win every game we're with you. How's that sound? You got it.
Oh, when my schedule allows, I get to go occasionally. They even decorate the plane.
Yeah, they brought the plane. It's right out back here. They flew it in.
And landed it in. We'll be back with more on the Brian Kelly Radio Show right after this timeout. Welcome back to the Brian Kelly Radio Show, live from O'Rourke's Public House. We have Eric Hansen disciples here tonight. We have 3 questions.
Injuries.
About injuries. Carol Barber, Larry Pizzini.
And that's not fair to Eric. Eric has been great. He just I kind of.
Well, he just does it completely.
I do nudge him a little bit about the injuries.
But he's taking the mantle off everybody else. No
He
one else,
does.
no one
Nobody
else
else.
bothers because they know he's going to get it
goes right
done.
to it.
Yeah,
Right.
that's right. So give us the injury report.
Well, we're pretty good. Obviously, we lost Alex Bars in the USC game for the year. Unfortunately, I think our 7th or 8th starter to a year-long injury. He'll be back, obviously. A very similar injury that Malik suffered. So we'll have to move some pieces around on the offensive line. Colin McGovern, Sam Mustapher now will have to play some center and some guard. Colin McGovern will have to get in there and play some guard and tackle. So we'll have to move some pieces around there, but we'll be okay.
Lisa Morrison's here. She's from Granger. Is wondering about the status of Justin Brent.
Yeah, he's at that point now where we feel like we're in pretty good shape where the running backs are. So we're probably going to redshirt him this year.
And he's a great athlete, and there's
Yep.
nothing wrong with that. And
Nope.
the year makes you a better player. Jerry Liss, any plays this week with a 2-back set?
Well, I mean, in terms of split backs or fullback, I mean, we do a little bit with that, with misdirection and some 2-backs. Right now I think we're 13th in the country in rushing offense, and I think we've tried to utilize our tight end and our receivers to give us as many looks in terms of running the football with misdirection. But we're not going to line up with a fullback and a tailback per se. But we will use 2 tight ends. We use a receiver to give us as many looks as possible.
We'll be back to wrap the show up after our final break, right after this timeout. We're back to wrap things up, so just give us the keys to the game against Temple, Coach.
I think it's important, given the atmosphere, and we talked about Temple taking a big swing. Get off to a really good start, and then play Notre Dame football for 4 quarters. No big plays on defense. Make them earn everything, and then offensively continue down the same road, and that is, run the football effectively and give us an opportunity to get those big shot plays.
Saturday night, right around 8:20, they're going to kick it off in Philadelphia. We thank you for coming out tonight. Good night, everybody, and go Irish.
The Brian Kelly Radio.